Welcome to Live Radio, Teddy Smith Show. 9 years later on the radio. We have some great performers in here. We're going to talk about them. 9 years on one show on a Friday night. We're almost making it to 10, huh? New York City, 9th anniversary summer show. A Jim Petrecca production. I thought we called it a James Petrecca production. Okay, Jim Petrecca's here. By the way, I saw all the wonderful guests he's had on the show, like thousands of guests already on my Facebook page. Jim, what's going to happen for the 10th year reunion? Jim, I want to take my hat off to you for a moment. Oh, there it is. Okay, and now just come to the microphone and just give a summary for the last 9 years, if you could, please. What have you enjoyed most about being on this wild Fellini movie radio show? As Bill Carey said, that first show, this was like a Fellini movie, and then it was Dan Ingram, Joe Franklin, Uncle Joe, and everybody else.
Well, Joe Franklin brought me to you, and
never the same since.
Yeah, it's never been. But New York radio doesn't have this.
No.
You don't even see one guest in CBS FM any studios.
No.
Not like this. Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, and
maybe you could announce this for us. What could we have here?
Tonight we have Charlie Thomas from the Drifters.
That's me.
We have Charlie Ingui from the Soul Survivors. Lillian Walker Moss from the Exciters is coming in.
Yeah,
Barbara Harris
the guy
and
that's coming
the
in.
Toys. The Toys now. Tony Middleton's
He's in the
coming
blue
up the
neck
steps.
shirt.
We have Ambrosia.
He's in a blue
We
neck
have
shirt.
John Salvato from
Just
the
give it a
Duprees. John Scupoletti from the Reactions. And
Don't forget Frida Payne.
Frida Payne coming on at 8.
It's a band of gold, 1970 music. Remember that here, like top 40 radio right here.
Good stuff.
Hey, Charlie Thomas, I'm glad you made it back up because you know what? The last time you were here, we had the phones were clamoring. People were calling after the show. And it was on Facebook, and we have all those videos that you've seen up there, and you were having a great time. I had a wonderful time. And I'm glad you made it back here tonight, that you thought enough of the show to come back here. But the most important thing is I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for coming down here tonight, and it was just great to have you here as part of the Drifters.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for being here. This is a real pleasure to see you here part of the 9th anniversary.
Small change.
Yeah, some of the greatest history of all. This is where people should be listening, and more people, as you know, are listening to these radio shows, live radio shows, that we play doo-wop here. And as John Scupoletti told me before the show, the reactions, he told me that he had over 1,000 people show up at your event, I believe, a couple of months ago. We'll talk to you in a few moments about that. And I'm glad you're here. Thanks for jumping over the Staten Island or however you got here through the ferry, down the highway to make it here tonight.
To this place, yeah, but it's fun. Let me say first of all that it's a thrill to be next to the legendary Charlie Thomas.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't touch him.
Don't touch it. Don't touch him. Don't touch him.
You got my name already.
So,
Tell us what your most memorable experience listening and seeing Charlie Thomas here tonight in terms of the history behind the music.
well, of course, you know, I grew up here in New York and went to all the Alan Freed shows, but after that, all the Mary Kay shows, but listening to the Drifters, I mean, you know, we sang on the corners and up on the roofs, and the Drifters were an important part of all the material that every vocal group had to learn.
Yeah.
The Drifter songs.
I know you admired him growing up,
I
right?
absolutely admired him. Still do.
Give me one of the occasions you recall really working with him.
Well,
One occasion. You recall that?
I was down in Atlantic City. We worked a couple of casinos together,
Yeah.
and just this past year, we worked on a show together with Tommy Mara's Crest, and I work periodically with Charlie. It's a thrill.
Are you working now like for another gig or another show coming up next month? Or
We got a show coming up on Sunday, actually, up in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
that should be fun.
It's a free park thing, one of those things.
Keep the rock.
So we just
But-
keep.
But the most important thing is you're active.
Active.
You work out your voice. You work
Yeah.
out. You know, you're jumping around. You're moving.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
Having a good
myself.
time.
Having a good time. You gotta have a good time, or else, you know, no sense in coming out.
Where else do you plan on playing between now and Christmas? Do you have any other
Between
places?
now and Christmas. Well, in the fall coming up, you know, we're down in Florida for a while. We play with
Miami?
probably mostly on the West Coast, mostly.
Tampa, Sarasota.
That area, yeah.
Yeah. So you have any other
Well,
CDs, albums coming out? or-
I'm very excited to tell you that I'm about to begin work on my first ever solo CD, so I'm real excited about that.
Wonderful.
Got some new material coming up.
When do you plan on having that out? By the spring?
No, it's not. Well, no, I don't think it's gonna be that soon.
You don't move that fast.
No, I don't move that fast. I am 76, so I slow.
No way.
Yeah,
Come
so I slow-
on.
yeah.
You don't know no 76.
Just
You don't look more than
76 in July.
45.
No.
I swear. Look at him. Take a picture of this man. This man's 76. All right. Does he look 45?
Oh,
Am I
wow,
right?
that's a thrill.
Huh? You look right. What do you do to stay young looking like the way you are?
Believe in
What's-
rock and roll.
Believe in rock and roll.
Hey.
We got some Joey Dean and Starlighters to play right here, WPAT Radio. Yeah, about the peppermint twist. So we're going to be moving a little bit back to Charlie Thomas soon, but we are keeping this show rolling, rocking and rolling, as they say. Right, Alan?
Right?
Right, Patrick? We are moving. Yeah, right. Just like Cousin Brucey used to say.